Hi guys, this video is about how to find the area of composite shapes using nets. So the first thing that you need to do on the net area assignment is to label all of the measurements on the net. So this is an example of what that should look like. Let's see if I can. Okay. So here, the height of all of these rectangular faces is 3, and then one of the rectangles where it meets right here is 3. The length where it meets right here is 5, and the length where it touches here is 4. And you can see how it's laid out here. The second thing that we want to do now is to find the area of each of the pieces. So we're going to start with the first rectangle. The area of a rectangle is base times height, which is 8 times 3, and that's this first rectangle here. So the area of this rectangle is 24 square units. Then we moved on to this rectangle. We have a height of 8 and a base of 4. So this is 8 times 4, which is 32. And finally, this third rectangle that we have a height of 8 and a base of 5, which gives us an area of 40. Then when we look at the triangles here, it's not marked, but this is a right angle. So 3 is the base and 4 is the height, because remember, bases of triangles must be perpendicular. So to find the area of a triangle, it's base times height divided by 2. So 4 times 3 divided by 2, which is 6. And then since these two triangles are exactly the same, the two area formulas are exactly the same, so they're both 6. So then to find the composite area, we're going to add up all 5 areas from each shape, or each area. So 24 plus 32 plus 40 plus 6 plus 6 is 108 units. So now we're going to look at a square pyramid. Again, on these, we are going to look at the net first with all of the measurements. I can tell it's a square pyramid because both of these numbers are the same, which means the base has to be a square. And then the triangle faces tell me it has to be a pyramid. So we have a square pyramid. So we have that net here. Each side of the square is 6, and then the height of each triangle is 6.7. Again, remembering that the altitude or the height of the triangle has to be perpendicular to the base of the triangle. So now we're going to find the areas. We're going to start with the square. So the area of a square is base times height, which is 6 times 6, which is 36. And then again, the area for the triangle is base times height divided by 2. So we have 6 times 6.7. When I'm talking about this little lowercase b here, I'm talking about the base of just this two-dimensional triangle. Or in the case of the square, just the base of the two-dimensional square. But when I find the area of the triangle, it's 20.1 square units. These 4 triangles are exactly the same. So again, we repeat their area formula. Excuse me. So then when we look at the composite area, if we notice we have 4 congruent triangles, we don't have to add up all of these numbers 4 times. We can say 4 times 21 and get 80.4. Then we add the area of the square to that and get 36, which is 116.4 square units. So now we're going to look at a cylinder. Cylinders are probably the trickiest of the composite area because when you look at the net, it gives you the height of the rectangle, which is 15, but it doesn't give you this length here. And then, of course, it gives you the diameter of the circle. But to find this length of the rectangle, you have to find the circumference of the circle because they're equivalent to each other. So the first thing we're going to do is find the circumference of the circle, which is pi times the diameter. So that's 3.14 times 22, which is 69 and 800ths of a unit. So that is the length of the rectangle. So now we can find the area of all the pieces. So to find the area of the rectangle, it's base times height. So 15 is the height, and we just determined that 69 and 800ths was the base. So that's an area of 1,036 and 2/10. And then to find the area of the circle, our formula is pi times the radius squared. Well, the radius here is half of our diameter, which is 11. So we're going to get 3.14 times 11 squared and get 379.94 for each area. Again, when we find the area, we're going to take the area of the circle, multiply it by 2, and get 759 and 88 hundredths, and then add the area of the rectangle, which is 1,036 and 2/10, for a total of 1,796 and 8 hundredths units squared. We're trying to, with multiplying this, we're trying to get to the point where you don't have to write this twice. As long as you recognize that the circles are congruent, you can just find it once and then multiply. So then we have a rectangular prism. I know this is a rectangular prism because the bases are all different. So here we have, if we look at this, what appears to be a square here on the end, it has a base of 7 and a height of 5, which means it's not a square. It's a rectangle. Here, if we chose this rectangle as the base, it would have a base of 23 and a height of 5, which is not a square. Or if we chose the bottom seaming piece right here to be our base, it would have a length of 23 and a width of 7. So it's not a square either. That means this has to be a rectangular prism. So when I break down that net, we have 2 rectangles with widths of 5 and 2 with widths of 7 and heights of 23. And then we have the ones on the end which have lengths of 7 and widths of 5. And I have labeled these rectangles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, as you can see here in my lovely blue handwriting, just to make this easier. So hopefully you notice that rectangle 1 and rectangle 3 are congruent to each other, and 2 and 4 are congruent to each other, and 5 and 6 are congruent to each other. So on this problem, we just found the area of each. So base times height, 5 times 23 is 115, 7 times 23 is 161, and 5 times 7 is 35. So when we go to find the composite area, since there's 2 of each of these, we're going to multiply each area by 2 and then add them together for a total of 622 units squared. Got to remember that for area. And then our last example is a cube. And hopefully by now in our unit, you realize that a cube is 6 congruent faces. So we should have 6 squares that all have side lengths of 19. So when we go to find the area of a square, it's base times height, which is 19 times 19. So that's 361. We have 6 congruent squares. So on this one, our composite area, instead of adding up 361 6 times, we just multiplied it and got 2,166 square units. So I hope you guys enjoyed net area. Let me know if you have any questions on our Google Meet or by email. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.